Hi everyone, Lynn here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have an update for you on my In My Garden junk journal. Um, if you've been watching my channel, then you know that last week I uploaded 0 videos. And there's a good reason. Well, actually there's 2 good reasons for that. One is that I just could not get the right lighting. It was either raining all day or it was so bright out that everything looked washed out. And I just could not get a proper video out of anything that I was doing. The other thing is we had Hurricane Isaias coming through the area, and because of where we live, we are in a mandatory evacuation zone. And generally speaking, by the time that they say that people have to evacuate, I wouldn't say it's too late. It's just that it makes it harder to find a place to go to. So that took me out of our home for roughly 3 days. So yeah, didn't get any videos done. On the plus side, we had absolutely no damage to our home or to the community that I could see driving back in. Dead branches and stuff like that off of trees, but not much of anything. So that was a win. We were fortunate in that the hurricane skirted the coast, so most of the damage would have been right on the coast of Florida as opposed to inland. But where we are, we're very fortunate, and I'm very thankful that we made it through without any damage, because we've been through that a few times and it's not fun. So I was so frustrated last week with not being able to film videos, and especially to show you how I made my cover and all that, which that was the original plan, was for me to do a start to finish. But I'm realizing more and more that there is a very short period of time during the day at this point that I can film. And that's frustrating. So eventually I will get some studio lights and I'll be able to film whenever I want to, or at least the colors on the video will be better than either being too washed out from the sun or being too dark because it's too cloudy out. So that's what I'm aiming for at any rate. So I did go ahead and work on the journal. And I got to tell you, this journal has been the bane of my crafty junk journaling journey. Everything that go wrong with this journal has gone wrong with this journal. From the fact that when I measured my cover, I made it too tall. So I had roughly 1.5 inches of spine that had nothing in it, which that's fine because I did want it to be a squishy spine. However, I didn't want it that squishy. I mean, seriously, I wish I'd have taken a picture of it before I actually added my signatures in. It looked like a flat pancake, and it was all it just was not good. So I ended up having to make some more signatures, and now I'm thinking that I have too many signatures because there's not a lot. I mean, there is growing room in there, but not if you're going to add a lot of bulk in it. And then, so yeah. And then the cover, the cover actually was probably the one thing that didn't give me a hard time. I did add, this piece here is one of these that I showed in a previous video, and I just cut it down, lined it with some of my grain fabric, and then ran some lace underneath it, and I put a French self-learning book page in behind it just to give it something else. I do want to put something here, a word of some kind. I'm not exactly sure what. And then the flowers and everything are just things that I had in my stash. One of the things that I was really happy about was this trim. How beautiful it coordinated with the fabric. So I went ahead and did it. I didn't have enough to go all the way around. I wouldn't have wanted it all the way around. I'm still not convinced on this here, but whether I want that much or not, because these are pretty thick, but it's beautiful and it just worked out perfect. And I did add some of the green fabric on the edge, and I'll show you the inside cover so that you can see. Let me move this a little bit more so that you can see. So basically I just folded over my fabric and glued it in place. And then because this pink fabric is pretty thin, I did line it with this green fabric as well. And here's the trim. And you can see that I have a piece of pink sari silk here, which is this one that I had hand dyed. And don't get me wrong, it looked pretty. It looked beautiful before I did the cover. But I just found that it was just too much pink. Way too much pink. So I am now on the lookout for something white. I have, oh my gosh, this thing keeps moving. I have, I tried out a piece of lace on the edge, a really nice white lace. I don't have enough of it, and that just really coordinated everything together. So that's, I'll be on the lookout for some more lace. Meanwhile, like I said, this thing has been the bane of my existence. I have a problem. I hope you can see that. This is 9 signatures here with making my stitching way too tight. So of course it's pulling on the fabric, and I'm going to have to redo this. And I was actually thinking about it after the first couple of them were put in, and I decided I was just going to go with it and see what happened. Once I was done with it, I got this brilliant idea for how I can stop myself from pulling my stitches so tightly that it ends up curling up the edges of my spine. And you can see right in here how much it's pulling on the fabric. So when I sit down to redo this, I will show you what I've done or how I'm going to do it. And hopefully, if you're like me and on a soft spine, you have a tendency to make things too tight, that it'll make your life a lot easier. Okay, like I said, I did add signatures. I added 4 signatures. Originally, I only wanted 5. And I did think about just adding more pages to the signatures that I have, but they're pretty thick to begin with. I mean, this is it. I mean, it doesn't look thick, but it's pretty thick. And once you start putting stuff in there, it is just too much. So I added more signatures, and of course, I was in a mad rush to try and get this done because I wanted to film some videos. And what did I do? I didn't think about adding pages that were as long as my covers. Does it matter? Not really. I just think it would look better. At any rate, so these here with the yellow fabric and some flowers and a little bit of lace on the side are the signatures that I added in. So this is an original here. This is added in. Original added in. So I really do need to see, you can see right in here how tight my stitching is. So that really does need to be redone. So yeah, so I know you didn't get to see me work on the cover, how I do my covers, how I stitch in my stuff. Maybe I should have just waited and did it on camera, and I hopefully would have had a better idea of what I was doing. I will say, on stitching the signatures, I don't have issues like this on hardcover. I don't, because you can only pull so tightly before the cover, or, you know, your spine is, if it's like chipboard or whatever, you can only pull so tightly. it will only let you pull so tightly, whereas on just fabric, I mean, that's pretty bad. So I will definitely redo this. Meanwhile, I have a few other videos that I'm going to attempt, depending on the lighting and all that. I'm going to attempt to do some of these this week. I would like to have one of them done for Friday. I really want to be done with this journal. I really do. I love it. I think it's turning out really great. It's looking the way I wanted it to look, but I'm over it already. And that's my problem with working with junk journals. As much as I love it, it gets to a certain point where like I'm ready for it to be done. And I think I'm like that with a lot of projects that are more involved than one sitting. I used to not be like that, but anyways, that's a whole different thing. So what are some of the things that I want to show you how to do? Well, I'm going to undo half of my signatures, and I'm going to try my idea and see how well that works. And if it works, then I will do the other half on video, or at least show you how I did it and managed to stop this from happening. So that's one. The other one is I want to show you how I do some more tuck spots and things that you can do with baking items that you might not think about using in your journals. I also want to show you how I do my Franken pocket page, which this will be on the front end if I have enough papers on my back cover. So it'll be a full page with a pocket, and it'll be a Franken page, and it's not done the way that you think it is. So I'll show you how to do that too. And what else? I had another idea and I can't remember what it is. Not important. But the other thing I did want to mention is that I talked about this in some of my past videos, that I need to reorganize my room. I can't take it anymore. I have stuff everywhere. And I don't want to get rid of all the stuff I just got, but I need to get rid of some of the things that I don't use anymore. So I do plan on doing some Destash videos, and if I can get... well, I definitely want to have them up before the weekend. So I'm not sure if that would be some videos for tomorrow, because I have to go through things, pull out the things that I don't want anymore, that I'm not, mostly it's going to be stuff that I'm just not using anymore. You know, there's nothing wrong with any of it. I'm not going to use it. So there's no point in my keeping it, and destashing will give me the opportunity to have room to actually put the things that I am using in what storage I do have. I also need to change the orientation of this room. I've thought about a few different ways of doing that, and most of them involve moving the entire room around. And while I've done that several times in the past, I really don't want to do that. So I think I'm going to go with the simplest way, the simplest change, which involves really moving one wall. That'll be the least amount of things to move, and it'll give me full access to my work surfaces. I have 2 tables that I bought 3-4 years ago, and they are 35 by 60 inches roughly. So that's a big work surface. But right now, the way my tables are set up, I'm basically relegated to this amount of space. This here. This is a poster board, so I know you can't see the edge of it, but I basically have about 28 inches of workspace because of the way the tables are set up. I can still access the rest of the space. It's not as, what's the word I want to use? I would like to be able to use the entire table. Yes, I know that I'm going to need room to have, my all the things that I'm using at the time, but I don't want the entire table cluttered up with all kinds of stuff that doesn't need to be there, which and makes it difficult for if I have a big project going on, for instance, cutting big pieces of fabric. I need the whole table. And I want to be able to do that because some of the other things that I want to do is some home decor stuff. My favorite season is fall. And we're coming into it, and I'm watching videos on YouTube showing me all these wonderful projects that people are doing. And I have a lot of ideas of simple things that you could do to decorate your room, your rooms, your house, your whatever. So I need the space to be able to do that. And I need to get rid of the clutter. There's just too much of it. It doesn't take a lot for it to drive me up the walls. I mean, I don't mind having piles and piles of stuff as long as it's somewhat organized and it's not in my way. But if I have to move it 3 times in the same day just to get to one thing that I need or another thing that I need, I can't take it. So I'm just being honest. So that's one of the things that I want to do is I want to reorganize, move a couple things around and reorganize my room. And in order to do that, I need to get rid of some stuff. And unfortunately, that means I'm going to get rid of some things that I love. But if I'm not using it, then it really doesn't matter, does it? So anyways, that's my update for today. I'll talk more about the journal in a different video. Probably the last video that I'm going to do for this journal, which is at least a week away. But yeah, I think I'm starting to ramble and I'm not exactly sure where I'm going with this. So maybe I should just leave it here. So yeah, see you in the next video. Thanks for stopping by and liking and commenting on this video. See you next time.